Welcome back, everyone, and we are talking episode 7 of the Book of Boba Fett, the final chapter.
In the name of honor.
Yeah.
It started out where we kind of left off with a possible war, between the Syndicate and Boba Fett's crew.
Yeah, it was like we were wondering beforehand how they were going to get through this episode,
Mm.
and well, they managed to. Um, I still think it was actually a longer episode. It was about 60 minutes,
Yeah, a 60-minute run time.
but it still felt a little bit like they had to rush through it to get everything they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to into this episode. But yeah, we start off with well, we learned some little facts about the uh, the Pikes
Oh yeah,
from CAD.
yeah, and Kat had another quick appearance here and talking about the Pikes and what they did. So the biker gang, pretending that the biker gang and killed the Tusken Raiders, and actually it was the Pikes,
Yeah.
which was that was I like that little kind of deception. It was
A distraction for Boba.
yeah,
Yeah, and he wasn't on their tail for it.
yeah,
Uh, like every little detail. Like I guess in the first 4 episodes, like there was things that played out
hmm
in this final episode, not to the extent that it should have. Like the first four were like building where Boba, I guess, was going to and where he wanted to be, his character wise. Um, but yeah, we got some of those little tidbits that played out in this like that because he was obviously very, we'll say, very
yeah.
upset with that, and he wanted revenge, and he thought he had got it. Um,
Just killed a bunch of innocent bikers.
well, not so innocent necessarily,
Yeah,
but he went after them
yeah.
for the wrong reason.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, find out that they're responsible. Just one of the many ways that they were trying to manipulate him and kind of force their way into being able to run their spice.
yeah. I mean, and spice is the hot commodity in the galaxy with obviously a form of drug,
Yeah,
and
it's their version of Breaking Bad, I
yeah,
guess.
and so I think the big thing was Boba didn't like it. Obviously, wants to kind of get rid of it, and you're right. Everything accumulated in the 6 episodes prior, subtle hints going on with into the seventh one, and kind of maybe tying up the loose ends, I guess is what I like to call it. But
Yeah, I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't. We didn't get what I thought we'd get.
mm,
I thought we were gonna see like Crimson Dawn or something bigger, responsible.
yeah,
I thought we were gonna get a little more. We didn't not necessarily fan service, but get some more characters involved in the final episode, which we didn't get.
hmm
Um, it didn't go exactly where I thought it was gonna go, and that's kind of par for the course for this whole series as far as that's concerned. It didn't. I don't think it really gave the general Star Wars fan, like not maybe your average person who's watching it wouldn't care, but the hardcore Star Wars fan didn't get what they wanted from a Boba Fett series. Uh,
Well, like I think we were talking about we were maybe looking for big reveals, and I think we were getting accustomed to having something in these series with that was amazing, or we got Luke originally, and were we surprised to see Luke and Grogu in this series, or even Ahsoka? Sure, maybe, even the Mandalorian, but I guess it's to me it's the world building, the tying in, and right off the hop we get Grogu comes back, and R2's flying the plane, they're flying the X-wing, and Grogu made his decision. That was the big thing that this kind of
which
started
was to me
episode.
was no really big surprise either when they had built in the
Yeah,
little pod into the Nubian
yeah, that's
Nubian
right.
ship
That's right.
and you know no big surprises there. Like I said, even if we didn't get the big reveals or anything big in this last episode, we kind of got to see a little bit of what we wanted.
hmm
We got to see Din and Boba, flying, fighting like Mandalorian style,
Yeah,
and that was pretty cool. Like I did love that part.
that was yeah,
That was more of the Boba Fett I wanted to see, and I didn't get to see that throughout this series really.
yeah. I mean, it showed you that I'm gonna just the Mandalorian style of fighting, up in the air, attacking. You got a few of the gadgets, of course, from both Mando and Boba. The rockets, the whistling birds, all those little things, which I think is that was cool. That fight scene I thought was well done. Um, You know,
Yeah, the fight scene was excellent. I thought
yeah,
the fight scene was really good. I was really happy to see some of those bikers go down.
yeah, oh yeah,
The
like
Power
oh
Ranger
yeah,
bikers.
you were hoping for the Power Rangers bikes to be blown up. Yeah. Um, you know, I mean, I think from this perspective of the war itself, there's a lot of pikes, which was great. I was glad it wasn't just like, oh,
Six
there's,
or seven.
yeah, oh, we killed it, it's over, you know. So
Yeah, they
I
kept
was,
coming. There was
yeah,
tons of them.
I was happy to see that there was a, yeah, it was kind of a constant barrage of Pike Syndicate guys.
It was kind of weird too at the same time though, because like they kept coming. They kept coming.
Hmm.
Well, why would they just send in the whole bunch at
Yeah,
once, right? It just there's things that aren't perfect when they tell these stories, and maybe budget wise and stuff like that.
kind of
But
remind me of like Double Dragon when they just keep coming out. The
but
old video game.
yeah, but it was just it was good, but it could have been better.
Yeah. Um, it's and they kind of obviously they kind of I don't know what I'm saying here anymore, but it's like more like they kind of kept coming, and so you have like, how are we gonna stop this? And then like, okay, we kill all these guys, we kind of backed into a corner, and then we get the droids.
Yeah,
Um,
basically a big version of the droid decals from the
yeah,
prequels.
yeah, and that's pretty cool because I like the old tech. Um,
They
uh,
had the force shield around
yeah,
them.
and now it's definitely kind of throwback to the prequels, and that's pretty cool. So then there's the new challenge, right? And how do you beat that? How do you get that? You've got everybody working together, taking some licks. Things are getting destroyed. People are getting beat up. So what do you go to?
Yeah. Like we discussed too, like just some of the things that happened though. I love the battle,
Hmm.
but just some of the guys, you couldn't kill anybody off. Black Chrysanthemum took how many shots did he take,
Yeah,
and he didn't die. Like previous movies and things like that, we would have seen somebody die. Like you just don't live through that.
yeah.
I'm okay with it. I didn't want to see him die anyway, uh, but just little things like that is
Well, he's an old gladiator. I mean, he's a Wookiee, so you're right. I mean, you kind of thinking there might be some casualties on the good guy side, and there wasn't. There was zero casualties. Um, I don't even think any of what's his name, Cobb's
yeah.
crew,
I don't
the
think any of
Freetown guys.
a few of the bikers, like what are they called, the mods or whatever
Yeah,
they were, they went down.
yeah, a couple of them.
Which was I was cheering for, and it was good.
Yeah,
I was glad to see that happen. But yeah, realistically, nobody really went down. It was almost like watching them fight stormtroopers.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, I did like the Rancor. I liked. We talked about it before. You had to figure when he talked about riding the Rancor, it was going to happen, and it's like that's that subtle hint early
One of the
on,
things
yeah.
they built in, like
Yeah.
otherwise they would have built or brought him in for no reason.
Yeah.
We kind of seen that one coming, and it was cool though. Like he went in there and he kicked ass. He was, but once again, he took how many shots from these big machines and didn't
Oh,
die.
yeah.
Like it's
Yeah, man, like Luke literally threw a human skull head at the door and
crushed him and like he was dead.
crushed-
Like so,
I guess maybe you get crushed.
it was a little more realistic. I think I think I guess you can get away with that a little bit in a TV series, like in a streaming series. You
Mhm.
aren't necessarily going to try and kill things off necessarily, but just I would like to keep things consistent. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think as you go along, when you get back from the original trilogy, you're bringing characters in like the Rancor or things like that. The stormtroopers, you can't hit anything. I mean, it's 1980s, and late 70s, early 80s. You're gonna get that kind of not as much violence. You're not hitting. You're not seeing a lot of it now. You're starting to see as we've kind of evolved in picture and film, a little bit more graphic. A little bit more, maybe a little more realism, or I don't even know if it is more realism.
I
Like,
don't think we're ever going to get that real graphic. Star Wars is never going to be that,
No.
and it's not meant to be that. I'm okay with that, but at the same time, the other series did have people. They went down. We
Yeah.
lost characters. But yeah, it just seems like they really didn't want to get rid of anybody other than certain ones that did go down, and one that I was really super surprised with, and I'd mentioned to you when we were watching,
Yeah.
was I didn't think that they would bring in a character like Cad Bane
Yeah.
just to off him in the series, because he was a pretty cool character.
Yeah, that's
Like,
a spoiler alert, just in case you haven't seen it. But yeah, I mean, having Cad come in, like we talked about that lost episode, or the episode that they had in the animated series, where Boba was being trained by Cad, and then eventually Boba killed him. So that was the lost episode, I guess.
Yeah,
Like, 'cause
I
it was never out there. I don't.
and
Like,
I don't know if I've ever watched it. I can't. I might have years ago, and I can't remember.
But no, is it even out there? I don't even know if it is.
I think it is out there.
Is it? Okay,
I think it's
well,
out there.
unless I don't remember it, but no, I don't. Are you sure? I don't know. Maybe not. But like, I think from that perspective, you're emulating the idea behind the animation. You're putting it into the real life picture. So for me, I was okay with that. I was okay with Boba getting rid of Cad. Oh, is Cad a cool character? Absolutely.
I would have been fine with them getting rid of him, but make it season 2. You know,
Yeah, you want to
keep
see
it,
more.
you know, you want to, if you're gonna bring a character, do something with him. Like, and it's true. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
He was actually, you know, like he's his usual badass stuff. He's like the most dangerous guy out there.
Yeah.
But you know, just got rid of him way too quick. I'd love to have seen more of him. Right.
I really liked the interaction between Boba and Cad. I thought it was good. Like the dialogue was good.
There was tension there. There was
You felt like there was some real bad blood, and it was
that history played out. Yeah.
I definitely like that, and then you know you get Boba, that ruthlessness. Okay, I have.
Well,
we've
finally seen a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this whole series I wanted to see more of. Boba's Boba, right? And not riding a bantha. Like some of the goofy.
He got on the Rancor and he messed stuff up. You know.
Yeah, but some of the stuff they did in that first 3-4 episodes was just tough to take.
No, I mean, you're setting the story up, I guess, and you know, with the Rancor running around, like kind of a King Kong moment where he's up on the
it's very
building.
much like you mentioned that was a very much a King Kong like moment.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of the Star Wars stuff is based off of old movies and old like westerns and different
samurai movies. I think that George Lucas loved that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're really throwing it in there, right? So it, you know, I'm okay with that. You know, after the Rancor was messing some stuff up, Grogu comes in and calms him down using the Force, which is super cool. I think showing his powers.
Well, multiple times he actually used the Force here in this episode and helped things out, which we obviously thought would happen if he was going to show up again. Because if you have Luke come back, well, then he just, I can understand why he didn't come back, because he just comes in and then he just owns the screen, because that's what happens. It's Luke Skywalker. Yeah. He comes in, the battle's over, he just kicks ass.
Oh, hey, no, you're not matching a Jedi.
No, so it was kind of at least a little bit more of a battle this way.
Yeah. And why do you think? Besides the screen time or the thing, like, why do you think he would have stayed back on the planet? And just said, "Okay, Art." He could have easily just dropped him off and left. You know, it's an interesting idea.
You know, it's completely for that reason. I think that I just brought up. I think that they realize if you have Luke Skywalker in there, what are people going to be talking about?
Yeah,
they're not talking about Boba. They're not talking about the Mandalorian for the most part. They're talking about Luke Skywalker, and that as much as it gives to the episode, it takes away from it in that respect. I would love it, but I understand where they're coming from on that.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. And drop Grogu off and reunite him and Mando, and he's got the Beskar armor on now, and it's you know, they're gonna go off on their own next season. You know, that's where they're gonna go.
Yep, and then we see at the end with the end credits, the after credits scene.
Yeah.
We see somebody in the back tank, and it wasn't who I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
And we got Cobb Vanth.
Yeah, and then we see the mod guy.
Yeah. So obviously, because we were both questioning, is he actually dead? Did they bring him back to life, or was he just basically dead, like on the verge of death?
Yeah, he must not be dead, because I mean, how can you put a guy in the back tank and they don't bring him back to life?
Yeah, because you never bring anybody else back.
Yeah. So my thought is
he's so badly wounded that he's basically dead, but they managed to save him.
Yeah. So they're gonna mod him up, and Cobb Vanth is gonna be around for future installments, I guess.
Maybe he's gonna end up being a major character.
Yeah, well, I don't mind him.
Why else would you bring him back, right?
Yeah,
so
Timothy Olyphant, he's a good actor. Yep. He's like, so I don't mind that. Okay, what I guess one of my things I just kind of part about the episode I really liked. I really liked Fennec Shan. I thought her going in and just taking names, and
she was basically the character that we knew from the animated stuff, right?
Oh,
so she was picking off everybody, sniping, stealth like, and just
ruthless assassin, right? And you know, she went in and cleaned house on the mayor and the Pike Overlord there. Just got rid of them all. It was no big deal. And there was no questions about it. I'm there to kill you, and we're ending this. And
Yep.
to me, I thought that was a great component. I like her character. I would love to see more of her. You
Yep.
know,
You know, I actually she compliments like it doesn't matter which series she's in
mm-hmm.
or who she's with, just her character and her ability, the way they actually portray her.
Yeah.
I do like the way they portray her. She's a compliment to any series that they put her in.
Yeah. No, I mean, and putting her in whatever is I'm good at because it's a good character.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, especially for being kind of a fairly new character. Really, like it's not like it's a good creation. I think it's one of those ones that you get those beauties after a while, like your Cad Banes or something come in, and it's nice to see fresh characters, different. I mean, we're not retrending anything.
No,
right?
and it's good when they build on a character that is popular, like and it's done well, like it's fleshed out. Like a lot of the characters, sometimes you'll have kind of a character and you don't really let them develop, give them any screen time to develop, so you don't really care about them. They slowly built her up over time, like through the animated series, and then by bringing her into this, and they didn't like do any disservice to the character from the animated series when they brought her in. They made her just as ruthless and talented.
Oh yeah.
So it was actually really well done, and they got a great actress to play her.
Oh yeah, and I think what I like about right now, I do like with this series though is your tie-ins to all the different eras. I mean, you've got your prequel era, you've got your Clone Wars era, you have your original trilogy, not the sequels, but we have all that, right? So you have kind of an array of characters that are all brought in together into that big world, and I think maybe that's what I liked about the series. Was it a little slow going forward to get where we need to? Sure, but I did like it.
So going back just a step, you picked out your favorite thing about the episode, and mine was going back to what I mentioned earlier, Boba and Din when they're battling at the beginning. Like that was absolutely what I wanted to see. Kick-ass battle, Mandalorian style. As for them bringing in the different periods of Star Wars, and you're getting to see like different, like they're drawing in and bringing in the Nubian ship. Yeah. They got the basically like the droid decals and things like that. They're bringing different aspects of Star Wars that are in the history and lore of Star Wars, and not ignoring it or bringing something else in. And sure, they do bring in some new stuff. We got those stupid looking bikes and things like that. I get it. They want to try and push new things and things like that. As much as I'm not a fan of it, maybe there's some people out there who like it.
Yeah.
So, to each their own.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, where do we go from here?
Your thoughts on the whole series as an overall? Do you think that they possibly had some issues while filming this series? Why else would we get 4 episodes of Boba Fett and then 2 of the Mandalorian basically, and then everything kind of rushed at the end? I'd wonder if there was some behind the scenes politics and things playing out. I don't know, but it just seemed like this series was really disjointed because like I said, I didn't get what I wanted out of it, and what we did get that I liked wasn't the Book of Boba Fett. It was completely something separate. So I just wonder if there was some issues behind the scenes, if it was, because you hear about all these different things in Star Wars, the supposed battle with Kathleen Kennedy behind the scenes and things like that. I don't know if we got any of that. Some of this politics is playing out on screen, but it seemed really disjointed, and I couldn't see myself I couldn't see them doing a bad series of Boba Fett, because that is a marquee character that they could have really built up.
Legacy character.
Oh, absolutely. It's like that's a character that you don't really want to mess up. You don't want to drop the ball on that one. And I've seen reviews and stuff where people are not happy with this. And that's a character you don't want to mess up. Basically like Luke Skywalker. You don't want to screw with him, and that's what they did in the sequel trilogy, and now they're trying to correct a lot of that.
That's true.
So you don't want to screw up these classic characters, and I feel this series did that, and I don't know if there's something else behind it, because it didn't feel right. There's just something off about it.
Well, I mean, and that's an interesting take. I mean, I maybe wasn't necessarily thinking about possibility of behind the scenes drama, and being a disjointed, I guess kind of series, right? Seven episodes. Now, I'm kind of leaning more towards feeling that this is a setup for future stuff. And it's not so much, I know they called it the Book of Boba Fett. They had to call it something. You had Boba Fett in as your kind of figurehead, main character, but you throw in all these other little side angles that bring it into this one series. So what I'm feeling is right now is that they did all this to further along other series. That's why they did it. It wasn't necessarily just to focus on Boba Fett himself, but it was more along to bring in, okay, how can we make a Mandalorian setup, like things on Mandalore. How do we set that up? How do we set up Grogu and coming back into it? How do we set up future things going on?
So basically what you're saying is, why didn't we just do a Mandalorian season 3?
And
Because realistically,
yeah.
realistically, what
Yeah.
you're building towards, what you said there, was all basically the Mandalorian type stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to do a series where you're going to be building other worlds and stuff like that, then do something the fans aren't expecting big things from.
Yeah.
You don't take a Boba Fett series and just basically piss it away. And
True.
that's kind of what they did. So if that's what they were doing, it was a huge mistake, in my opinion.
Like, and I just think, like, when you have Ahsoka come in, so you, like I said last week, you get a little tease. You hey, don't forget about my series coming up. So that's what you do. You throw Luke in there, and you're like, well, don't forget about me.
Well, you can't.
Yeah, I know you can't forget about Luke Skywalker, but you're like, we can use you at any time now, and that's what kind of signifies to me is you can use Luke Skywalker at any time, any given moment in any series, just because. Maybe they do a series of all Luke's adventures, like in.
I'm thinking with the technology that they basically were. I think they're more or less almost testing out too here.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get Luke Skywalker at some point. We're gonna get, whether it be a series or a movie. Yeah. I think we get something.
Basing on the reaction with him, I didn't really see a lot of negative press for him. What they did for this
in this
episode 6. Yeah.
Oh no, it was overwhelmingly really positive.
Yeah, it's positive, right? I seen a couple, read a couple bad articles where they're like, we don't need this. We should just recast the character. Like, people are mad about the synthesized voice and
well, the only thing I can agree with is that the technology in terms of the voice does need work. Is it done well? Yes.
Yeah.
It just, there's no inflection is what they're saying, and I get that you don't get the emotion that you would from a character.
That's true. Yeah.
So look how far they've come. I think that they're almost at that point where they can do a movie almost flawlessly. They just have to tweak some things, but
the last article I read, and they talked about it, was saying how they didn't like that they're just not recasting. Why don't they just recast it? Because they did it with young Han, young Lando, and so I think that's. But
here's the thing, you don't have to now.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
You have the technology wasn't good enough then.
Yeah.
So people would have complained about how off it looked back then. Now we're getting the technology to the point where you can do that and pull it off, because it's so much better than even like the Grand Moff Tarkin.
I still don't think he looked that bad.
No, he didn't. But the guy they hired now, who did this last bit, who they hired from YouTube of all things, is the guy. If you see his deep fake of Princess Leia and Tarkin, it looks better than what they did in the movies.
Oh, for sure it does. Yeah.
So did it look bad in the movies? Not really, but it looked. I will say it looked soulless. There was a little bit missing to it. And even Luke in the second season of The Mandalorian had a little bit of that to it. Mm-hmm. Now that this guy's on board, the look is just that much better. Yeah. So I don't think you need to recast it. And the people who are kind of whining and complaining about it, well, I don't think we have to really worry about them for the most part, because they're going to be in the minority. They're the real small minority who have the loudest voice, right? They're out there screaming, yelling.
That's exactly it.
But the true Star Wars fans want to see these people. So that's who you're catering to. You're not catering to the people who are bitching out there.
And I think for me, if I'm going to see legacy characters, I want to see them as when I first saw them. Yep. So if I want to see Mark Hamill's face out there, of course I want to see it. It's Luke Skywalker.
You want to see Harrison Ford? He's Han Solo.
Yeah. And I didn't mind Alden Ehrenreich.
He was good. He did a really good job, actually. And if they did another movie with him, I wouldn't even have a problem with that. No. But going forward as an older one, right now, if they had a spin-off and they had Han on one of these series, I would love to see him de-aged and have Harrison Ford's character like that. Yeah. He has to look like that at that point.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It's like, if you want to do young Luke Skywalker, or a young Han Solo or young Lando Calrissian, for sure, have somebody different. That's fine with me.
Yeah, you can. But at this point now too, do you have to recast? No, because you can have a younger Mark Hamill. They've already done Han Solo and Lando, so I can see them reusing those guys. I have no problem with it. But if they wanted digitize them to be even younger,
Yeah.
At this point, with the technology and how good it looks, I'm happy with it. I'll watch a show or a movie with it.
Yeah, I'm good with it the way it's looking nowadays for sure. But you know what, like you said, with the whole series and as a whole, I didn't mind it because I feel like it's world building for me. And I know you may have a different opinion on it, but I think it was world building. I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to, do they combine Mandalorian and rename it, and then combine Boba's in it, and all those guys are in it? You know what I mean? Do you have a different series?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay. Well, yeah, and I think it's a big mistake. I think I have no problem with world building whatsoever, but just don't give anticipation of having a great character and not you know doing due justice to that character. And I really think they dropped the ball on this one. Did I dislike the series? No, I like the series, but they could have done it so much better. They could have done it right. And as far as I'm concerned, they just made a few mistakes in it. But you live and learn, and hopefully it just keeps getting better as we go along. And we got just today the announcement, Obi-Wan's coming out in May.
Yeah,
So
exciting.
that's going to be an amazing series, I think.
Can't wait.
I don't
Can't
think
wait.
I don't think they'll drop the ball on that. I can't see it
No.
because once again, though, it's another big major character. You can drop the ball on this. If they do, I hate to say it, if like Lucasfilm drops the ball on this,
Oh,
they could be in big trouble.
I mean, a lot of years in the works, right? Like, and I
It's
think that,
it's been a long time coming. It's been delay after delay, and everybody's pumped it up. Ewan McGregor, even still to this day, is still saying how good it is,
yeah.
and that people will be satisfied with it. Let's see.
Well, the early press is good. That's what the. So we'll see. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. That's
Yeah,
all I know.
and you know what? I don't care what the press says. I care what we say, and you out there say, because that's who matters. So, hopefully we get what we want out of that series, because it will only help build up the series, like, and it'll give more power to the people in charge, well, who are somewhat in charge, running the series and trying to do the right thing for Star Wars, because they're trying to think in the right direction. It seems right now. So, and with that,
Like, we want to hear your guys' critique. What do you think? Comments. Throw them in there. If you think it was good or bad. I mean, there's lots of mixed reviews out there, so always good to hear what everybody else is thinking.
Yeah, because everybody's all over the place on this one, and the opinions vary, and no opinion is invalid. We'd like to hear what you have to say on different characters, the story arcs, what you thought may or might not have happened behind the scenes, all that kind of stuff. So, with that,
Thanks for joining us here at the Blazing Overture, and we will see you in the next video.